Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's TechTactics here, and today we're going to be doing a review of this Big Mistakes Eraser. No, I'm just kidding. We're not really going to be doing that. We're going to be doing this UDI U18A Quadcopter. Now, this Quadcopter is pretty cool. I have a lot to say on it, actually. And so, if you're interested in watching what I have to say on it, definitely stay through the intro so that you can find out more. Alright, and we're back. So now that we're done with the intro, let's go ahead and jump right on into this review of this UDI U18A Quadcopter. So, the first thing I want to talk about is actually the controller. So, as you can see, it's pretty big, fits your hands well, and it is completely plastic, although it does feel pretty sturdy. So, in the middle, we got the power on button. It makes a beeping noise. We got the green flashing light right here. And down here is something, probably one of the coolest things. It has the little LED display. It is not touchscreen. However, it shows you your battery life of the controller, not the quadcopter. I definitely would like to see the battery life of the quadcopter shown on here, but unfortunately they didn't do that. They also go ahead and show you the throttle percentage and a couple of the different modes. So that's really cool to have the screen, and it is pretty bright, and you can see it quite well, although most of the time I find myself not using it because typically I'm looking up at the quadcopter as I'm flying, and the percentage of throttle doesn't really matter to me. But let's go ahead and look to the left a little bit. Right up here we have the camera button. So you press this to take a picture with the quadcopter, and right here you have the video recording button. So you press this to go ahead and take a video, and once you press it, the video starts, and until you press it again, the video does not stop. It does record in about 480p, and it looks decent. Obviously, it's not very good, but for the price of this quadcopter and all things considered, it is pretty good. Now, right here, we do have a 360 inversion mode, which basically you just press the button and it does a cool little flip, and another mode button right here to change the modes. You have 4 other switches, and in order to get it running, you just go. You press up, and then you press back down, and it's all set. Of course, I don't have the quadcopter on, so you're not going to see it do anything. But then we got 2 other buttons up here in order to make it do a flip, and another button right there. So let's go ahead and shut that off to get the beeping to go away. I haven't noticed any sort of issues with the controller in terms of, input lag or anything like that. Basically, the second you press left, it goes left. Second you press right, it goes right. So no issues there. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the actual quadcopter itself. So, as you can see here, it has 2 white blades and 2 black blades. So, if I remember correctly, which it has been a little bit of time since I used it, the white blades go in the front and the black go in the back. So, you can kind of remember, when you're looking up at it, if you're pressing up on the stick, it's going to be going forward. However, if it's like this, even if you're still pressing up, it's going to be coming back at you. So that does take a little bit of time to get used to, but overall it's not very hard. So it does actually have LEDs on it, which one of them did die the same day I got it, actually, which was disappointing, but obviously not really a real issue, as the LEDs don't matter all that much. And to be honest, they're not very bright either. I did use it at night, and they weren't all that impressive looking, but they're there if you're someone who does like LEDs, and I suppose it won't be too difficult for you to swap the LED out yourself. So, overall, I have crashed this many times, to be honest. I have gotten stuck in a tree twice, and yet it still has stayed together perfectly fine, and it works just as well as just as well as it did the first day I got it. So honestly, no issues there in terms of build quality. It does feel cheap and plasticky, but that's probably just to keep the weight down so that it will still hover well. So overall, no issues in build quality. As you can see, the blades do get scratched up and pretty dirty pretty easily, but they still function just as well as they did when they were new. And if you ever do break a blade, it comes with an extra set, so that's always good. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that these don't fly very well in wind. Upon using it, I found that it does fly pretty well in low wind. Mid wind, it can hold its own a little bit, but honestly, if it is pretty windy out there, and especially if it's very windy, just don't even bother, because the risk of it flying away or something is too high, and you don't want to lose it, and you will likely have difficulties trying to keep it up and in control. So the learning curve of trying to fly one of these things, as these are brand new and not many people have gotten the chance to use a quadcopter, it's actually not that high. The first day I used it, I was pretty much able to catch on right away. It's not very complicated, not very hard. However, if you did want to do something like, do skill flying or do actual recording with it, that might take a bit more practice. But just to fly it around in your backyard or something, it's not very hard, and you'll be able to get used to it quite quickly. So, like I said, the controller is really awesome. It does fly quite high, actually. It can get up to the top of most trees, so I honestly don't know how high that is, but if I had to guess, probably around 50 feet. So that's not too bad at all. And you can do some cool tricks just by the press of a button. Honestly, I don't use it very often. It's cool the first 1 or 2 times, but after that, it's just kind of repetitive. There's really only 2 things that it can do, and they're both flips. So, in terms of cons, though, there's only a few. I did search this product to find as many as I could, but really, I did have some trouble finding them. My biggest complaint, of course, is the battery life. Now, it does come with one battery. I believe it's a 500 milliamp hour, so it's quite small. But of course, it has to be small so that it can fly and hover easily. So even still, it holds about 10-minute charge. That's not really as long as I'd like. Personally, I'd like it to be closer to a half hour, but I know that's not going to happen. So 10 minutes is good enough for one battery. But of course, any extra time added would definitely be much appreciated. So what I went ahead and did was I bought 5 other batteries, and with the 6th one, that gives me a total of 1 hour flying time, which I think is optimal, as you'll probably get bored of flying it after even 45 minutes to an hour. So it's definitely something fun. It's not something you use every day, though, and like I said, the LEDs do die quick, and I wouldn't recommend it for indoor use, as it's kind of big. It's not huge, obviously. It seems kind of small, but it's not super easy to control. So a lot of times you'll find yourself bouncing off of things, hitting things, or even hitting people. And I have actually hit the blade once, and it didn't cut me. It wasn't on full throttle, but it was enough to make me a little nervous and pull my hand back pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind when using it, and definitely don't give the controller to someone else while you're trying to work on it, as they could have a slip of the finger. So that's what happened to me, and although I was fine, no cuts, no blood, or anything like that, just definitely beware, as they do spin pretty fast. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and definitely go ahead, check out my channel, as I'll have this featured in some other videos that I will be doing, because this is actually a really cool product, and I'd like to get a few other videos out about it. So go ahead, check out my channel, and subscribe for more videos just like this one, or even other tech reviews. And if you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like. And that's about it for today's video, so I'll see you guys very soon, and peace. What's going on? It's TechTactics here, and today we're going to be looking at how to build a gaming computer. So if that sounds interesting or helpful to you, definitely stay with me through the intro, and I'll see you in just a minute.